Welcome to the shop. Oh, hang on. Whoa. Welcome to the shop. Hey, today we're going to talk about this plane. You think you can handle this thing? Well, find out in the end. Stick around. All right, so let's talk about the FMS Tigercat. This 1700 millimeter plane is quite a beast. I got it at a swap meet, couldn't pass up the deal. I really couldn't. It was one of those, right? Honey, yeah, I got a great deal on it. So that made sense for me to bring it home, I guess. Anyway, big plane, 6S batteries, relatively complicated landing gear.
Yes, and that's the funny part.
And it challenged me from a standpoint of it, just the intimidation of the size of this thing. The other thing that I did have an issue with were the plugs. I had to swap out the bullet connectors for MPX connectors.
Okay, want to point out one of the issues I had with this, and that was this system right here will have a connector multi-pin, and the wings just slide into the males, slide into the females, and everything works great. Well, mine was, this plane's a little bit older, and there was some issues with it not working. It started failing. So basically what I ended up doing is doing these MPX connectors. There was some solder.
There's a bunch of videos online talking about that issue that this older model had. Newer ones, I guess, might work fine. My FMS P47, I'm waiting to see how those bullet plugs work out. Who knows? We'll see. All right, so only issues I could say that I had with this plane were, like I said, landing gears. If you need to be a little mechanical so you can figure those gears out to repair them, because if every once in a while you're going to need to repair them.
Okay, so on the FMS Tigercat, these gears are phenomenal. Going to go through a little bit of detail on these gears best I can. As you see, the details are wonderful. I mean, you've got all this is aluminum, all these individual little pins all over, which I would highly recommend you putting a little foam tack on all those little C-rings to hold things in place. Amazing detail, but there's some complexity with it. And what I mean by that is, if you hit hard on some of these, like I have on some of my landings, what happens is when this opens and closes, it kind of flops down or flops open, and it doesn't lock. Right here, this should be completely locked straight like that. If it's not, then it's going to collapse on you as you roll out or land. I've had that, and then you get these scraped up parts here. So what you need to do is get inside this housing here. What I would probably do is pull that pin off right there so you don't have to take out this entire assembly here, and just unscrew this after you've, like I said, pull one of these pins out or this one up here, just so you can get into this piece here. So you got to remove these screws, all of this to take the servo out. Inside there, this shaft right here that connects runs into, there's a couple grub screws. Make sure that this is on the flats, those grub screws are on the flats of that trunnion. It'll come undone eventually, and you're going to have to do this. And I've had to do this on both the mains as well as on the front. Same kind of scenario. So, great gears, super detailed, super awesome, great crowd pleaser, but there's a lot of work that goes in there.
So here's the setup page with all the goodies on control throws and whatnot. This does not have a gyro in it. And I originally flew this on FR Sky radio, and I kind of wanted to put a satellite radio in it, and it was easier to do with Spectrum, so I swapped everything over to my Spectrum setup. But for the most part, there's everything you would need to know about the plane. As far as assembly, go ahead and take a look at this video here where I go over all the assembly in the field, because that is a little bit awkward, to say the least. Usually the table at the field's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to take out my bag of stuff. We're going to take this wing, slide my ESC power components for that motor in. We're going to plug in these MPX connector over here. And make sure that feeds properly. I'm happy with everything the way it's fed. Now I'm going to plug in my power. Make sure those are pushed in very well, very tight. And I have mine set up. It's the only cable like it, because this wing, remember, is always on. So it's always plugged in. I never have to worry about it. That's ready to go. Problem is I need to now screw that wing on. So I got to flip this gigantic thing over in my shop and show you how I do that. So hang on a second. Let me flip it around. Set it like so. I want to damage the guns on here, which it's a Reno racer plane. Not sure why it would have guns, but it does. All right. So those wings flipped over. Put these screws in. Had to change the to a wide angle lens because this thing's so dang big. When I just screwed everything in, I noticed that my camera's really not picking up what I was doing. So anyway, pretty simple. There's only 2 screws that hold each wing on. So get those tightened in, and then you're basically done as far as that assembly. Then next, I flip the gigantic thing over, and I'll usually power it up, cycle the gear, make sure everything's working well, because that gear, as I've, you'll hear, it's a little temperamental. It looks awesome, but it is a little temperamental. But man, what a great piece of equipment. Here's the interior, a little bit better view. You still can't see it overly well. Let me take you out of my tripod. Here's the setup. Oh, by the way, put a satellite receiver in it and change things around a little bit. I used to fly FR Sky. Now I'm flying a Spectrum with the satellite. After my incident, which was really a power issue, not anything to do with FR Sky losing signal. That wasn't it. I lost power. Anyway, so that now we're all set up, ready to fly. Okay, so now we got it all assembled and we're ready to go fly. Cycle those landing gears on this thing. Make sure that the doors are opening all the way. There's a couple fiddly things about it that you need to tweak after a landing or two. Just remember to cycle these gears before your flights. You're going to have a stand to have this up, or at least hold it on its nose or something like that. Keep an eye on those landing gears. When they start acting up, you're going to have to dig in and do some repair work, or else they'll just fold up on you as you're taxiing and scrape up the nacelles. Taking off. From that perspective, this plane just takes off easy as pie. This is the probably, because it's a beast. You spin up those motors, they sound just awesome. It rolls down the runway, no flap, and it just takes off as smooth, and scale is perfect. I mean, it just easy as can be to take off. Once you take off, bring those gears in. It takes a while for those to cycle up. Don't go too fast or the doors won't close right. So be careful of that. Once you're up, she's awesome. I mean, she flies fantastic. She'll do loops and rolls and everything you want. Can't knife edge her. I tried that. I couldn't get her to knife edge, and I was scared to continue to try. I will say, flying ability is fantastic. I did have one.
Yep.
So flight characteristics, easy flying. Bigger flies better. So true. Flight times on a 5,000 milliamp battery, I mean, you could easily fly for 8 minutes. Taking your time, cruising at half throttle, easy flying plane. If you want a plane that does all kinds of cool flat spins and snaps, this is not the plane. This is just a beautiful scale flyer with a lot of power. No problem with vertical. Let's talk about landings. So you do need to know how to land big planes. You cannot chop the throttle with this. You will smash those gears. It's a lot of weight and it's coming in. Now, it will come in slow if you do the job right.
Very nice. Yeah, she lands really well.
So as you're lining up your approach and you're going to start slowing down, I give full flaps, little power, and you got to have that right timing on that throttle, giving it a little, modulating that throttle until you're pretty close to just lifting, giving that elevator to get that nose up. Continue working that throttle until touchdown.
Full speed, half throttle, dropping down to about third throttle, back up a little bit, keep the speed, modulate that speed, nose up, nice. Let's do another one.
And then she tracks straight as can be. Unlike my tail dragger friends over here with the Spitfire, Corsair, and P-47s that you got to dance on the rudder. This, no. But this will roll forever. She just keeps on going. So make sure you have plenty of room. Good news is these are monster tires, and she will just roll off into the grass off your runway without an issue. So that is not a problem. Landing, cakewalk. Let's talk about storage and travel and all that. I store this plane with one wing attached, the other one I hang up on a rack. It's just easier for me to walk around with that as far as in travel. Is it easier? No, but it just saves, I guess, a little time at the field to just have one wing I got to mess with. I don't know. It fits in the back of my truck, no problem, with that one wing, and then the other wing is usually inside on like the back seat or something. So here's what you're waiting for. Is this plane for you? I will say that if you can handle the space, this plane is fantastic and it's for you. As long as you know how to land. And what I mean by that is, as this plane is coming in, can you modulate that throttle and can you put her down where you need to put her down? Meaning in the front of that runway, and have her going slow enough that her nose is up, but she's under power and has that nice slow descent. You land hard on these landing gear and you're going to be repairing them a lot. And it's not a trivial task to do that. So I would say you need to be able to butter those landings with this big plane, which really requires throttle management and really seeing what does the plane need. If you can do all of that, then this plane is yours. Now, it's not a cheap plane. It's, over $600, but holy cow, I've had it for a couple years. Like I said, it's been fantastic. I've destroyed it and rebuilt it. This is one of my favorite planes to take to the field. In this, there's a link, an affiliate link to this plane in the description. If you're so inclined to pick one up, use my affiliate link. Helps my channel out. There's also some discount codes. If you feel inclined to buy it, use that discount code and save yourself 10%. On a $600 plane, that's a couple bucks. Might be worth it. So anyway, hope you liked the video. Hope you got something out of it. If you have a question, leave a comment, like, subscribe, all the cool stuff. Makes me feel good about doing these videos. See ya.